The president first ordered the surveillance warrant declassification last fall and then dialed it back over concerns from his lawyers that the Mueller probe was ongoing and releasing the records could be seen as obstruction. Here's more from the president last night.
So they'll say, oh, you released these documents. So we would make all of this information transparent. You know, in politics, you always hear transparency. Would make it transparent, and then they'd call it obstruction.
This Fisa warrant application and the subsequent renewals are literally a heavy lift, some 412 pages, most of it blacked out. We are told the final renewal, signed by Deputy Attorney General Rod Rosenstein in 2017, is the most significant, containing all of the intelligence. And within that renewal, we understand there are about 20 key pages that go to the anti-Trump dossier and the allegation that important information about conflicts of interest was withheld from the National Security Court. Bill and Julie.
There is more fallout, Catherine, this morning, apparently, for a senior House Democrat and a former intelligence chief. Why don't you tell us about that?
Well, that's right. Late last night, Julie, Republican Senator Rand Paul tweeting, breaking, a high-level source tells me it was Brennan who insisted that the unverified and fake Steele dossier be included in the intelligence report. Brennan should be asked to testify under oath in Congress ASAP. Fox News has told Paul's tweet specifically accuses Brennan of pushing to incorporate the dossier into the January 2017 official intelligence community assessment known as the ICA from the FBI, CIA, and NSA that Russia worked to interfere in the 2016 election. However, the dossier is not referenced in the unclassified summary of the ICA that has been publicly released. Meantime, the president is tweeting this morning about Democratic House Chairman Adam Schiff, who read huge sections of the anti-Trump dossier into the congressional record in March of 2017. Listen.
But it is also possible, maybe more than possible, that they are not coincidental, not disconnected, and not unrelated, and that the Russians use the same techniques to corrupt U.S. persons that they employed in Europe and elsewhere. We simply don't know, not yet, and we owe it to the country to find out.
President tweeting Congressman Adam Schiff, who has spent 2 years knowingly and unlawfully lying and leaking, should be forced to resign from Congress. This morning, Schiff is chairing a hearing on Russian oligarchs, and we are monitoring that hearing and will bring you any developments.
And my next guest, with the support of the Majority Leader Mitch McConnell, is preparing investigations into the political bias at the FBI that targeted President Trump. Joining me now is the head of the Senate Judiciary Committee, Lindsey Graham. All right, Senator, on the theme of repercussions, in both of these cases, can we expect the DOJ's full involvement?
Yeah, I think so. I think Bill Barr is a man of the Department of Justice. This has been his life's work, and I think he's very disappointed and concerned by the way the FBI handled the Fisa warrant application, the counterintelligence investigation, and he's going to be very supportive of looking to find out how this got off the rails.
A lot of folks, when they approach me, I'm traveling around the country, I'm sure you get the same thing. People say, how does Hillary's people, how do they manage to smash BlackBerries? How do they unmask all of these Americans with probably dubious reasons? Right. How is the UN ambassador unmasking, like Samantha Power? Like, how is this all happening? There's never any repercussions. But what do you say to them just on that score?
Well, one, let's find somebody to prove that it did happen we all trust. You know, Mueller, I stood behind him because I thought he was a fair guy. A lot of people on our side thought he was in a witch hunt. I didn't, quite frankly. But the president's been vindicated. Let's take somebody like Mueller to ask these questions. Did they get a FISA warrant by using compromised, bogus information?
Well, they did, didn't they?
I think so. Yeah. But let somebody other than Lindsey Graham and Laura Ingraham say it. Let's find somebody of the stature of Mueller to look at the other side of the story, because if they find something, I want people to believe it's based on the evidence, not politics.
Is Bill Barr now looking into the possibility of appointing another special counsel?
I am urging him for one simple reason. This is an emotional event. Most Republicans believe they were out to get Trump. Most people think that Strzok and Page and McCabe and Comey wanted Clinton to win and Trump to lose, and they took the law in their own hands. If that's true, it's horrible. Let's find somebody that can tell us if it's true, take the appropriate action. I think it's very important to have a Mueller-like figure to look into the
I know
side.
what you think that, but you've had conversations with Barr. I know you had dinner with him the other night. Is he approaching that decision Is there a timetable in which he'll make that decision?
I think he's going to look at what happened, and the question for him, should it be me and the professionals here inside the building, or should I get somebody outside the system? It's not a question of how, if he looks, it's how he looks.
Well, they're attacking him now. They're trashing his credibility on the left. They're saying that he's just a political actor, that Mueller shouldn't have trusted him to make that obstruction decision. I've never heard of someone who is a Bush attorney general. Everyone's, elevating the Bushes now for a variety of reasons, but I've never heard anyone attack Bill Barr in his professionalism until the left got into their multiple stages of grief here.
Well, so like Adam Schiff has become the new Oliver Stone of the House. There's nothing will ever satisfy them. Bill Barr is one of the greatest people to ever serve in the Department of Justice, highly respected on both sides of the aisle until Trump got to be president. The point I'm making is let's have somebody that maybe we can find, like a Mueller, to look at the other side.
Now, let's talk about a man who you probably wouldn't recommend take over this investigation, Jim Comey. He was on NBC tonight. Yeah, he was last seen gazing up at the redwoods. Looked like a lineup to me, Lindsay. Anyway, so he was on NBC tonight commenting. Let's watch.
If there are questions that haven't been answered in the hours and hours and hours of testimony I've given, of course I'll answer them. I want it all done in the light of day, though. No more secret depositions. Public hearings serve the public interest. And so if there are questions to be asked about how we handle this investigation or any other, let me know when you want me.
No, he's ready.
Okay, so one is going to be in public, and I'm going to give you a heads up. But one of the questions I'm going to ask you, did Bruce Orr tell you you shouldn't trust Christopher Steele? And how much time and attention did you put into verifying the dossier before you certified to the court that it was reliable? So there you go. Think about it. Come to the committee here soon, and you'll give me the answer in public. You will testify, my friend, in public, not behind closed doors, and you will answer for your time as FBI director.
Now, I want to get your take on another event that happened to one of your former colleagues, Senator Joe Biden. Now, he seems poised to launch a presidential bid,
right.
But like a lot of the Democratic candidates, he has to say he's sorry about a lot of what he did. Now, here he's attempting to apologize for how Anita Hill, my old boss Clarence Thomas, confirmation hearings. Let's watch.
There are a bunch of white guys. She faced a committee that didn't fully understand what the hell it was all about. To this day, I regret I couldn't come up with a way to get her the kind of hearing she deserved.
He's a good guy. If he's not proud of the life he's lived, why should we make him president? I mean, if you really have to apologize for most of the things you've done in your political life, why should we pick you for being president?
But I think his comment is actually racially charged. And when I say that, I think by saying if it's a panel of white men, you can't be fair.
Here's Joe's
What is
problem.
that? That is judging someone based on race. I thought we weren't supposed to do that.
The problem is that the party of Joe Biden's dead, and he's trying to find a way in the new party. And in the new party, you have to apologize because if you're a white guy, you can't possibly be fair. This is what's going to undercut him because I like Joe Biden. I like the real Joe Biden. I think he's been wrong on policy, but what he's doing now is putting in question whether or not he's authentic. Do you really believe he thinks that this apology is sincere? Is he just trying to position himself for political advantage? I think he's apologizing to get an advantage in a crazy primary.
Lindsey Graham, it is so great to see you. Don't be a stranger. Thanks for staying up late.
Fox News alert, in the last 5 minutes, President Trump tweeted, weighing in on the Jussie Smollett case. He wrote, FBI and Department of Justice to review the outrageous Jussie Smollett case in Chicago. It is an embarrassment to our nation.
Our next guest says he's never seen a case like this in his 44 years as a judge or in his career. Here to explain is Fox News senior judicial analyst and host of Liberty File on Fox Nation is Judge Andrew Napolitano.
Now, where did that 44 number come from? Did Kilmeade make that up?
I saved you. I said you got into law at 12.
Hey, can we redo that open? Can we just put in, let's just put in lengthy.
All right. The president is 100% correct. A, it is a national embarrassment. And B, because it involves law enforcement and potential corruption. I don't mean cash in somebody's pocket. I mean doing something for the wrong reason as a political favor. That's an improper use of government authority and it needs to be investigated. So I pretty sure that this is what President Trump is talking about. An FBI investigation into Smollett himself as to whether or not the mailing of the letter to himself, addressed to himself at the Fox studios of all places in Chicago, constituted an act of mail fraud, putting a deceptive instrument or a threat through the mail.
They were looking into that anyway.
Correct. Is that worthy of prosecution? But just as significantly, and this is what I believe the president alluded to, was it an act of corruption on the part of the prosecutor, who first said, I'm not in the case, and then said, I'm sort of back in, but don't tell anybody that I'm back in. This is absurd. Either you're in or you're out, and if you have a conflict, you have to get out. Was that an act of corruption? And if so, was anybody's civil rights violated by it? So those are what I think are the two areas the FBI will focus on.
Well, Cook County State's Attorney Kim Foxx said she never would have, apparently she would never have gotten involved if she knew Smollett would be a suspect, not a victim, because at the victim stage, that's when she was involved with the family, apparently.
You know, I don't know what her involvement is, but when someone comes to you, if I was about to sentence somebody, and somebody that I really knew and liked and respected came to me and said, hey, you should give that person a break, what's the right thing for me to do?
You get out of there.
Get off the case. Don't say publicly why, just totally get off the case. Don't slowly walk back in, just get off the case. Because cases not only must be just, they must appear to be just.
What do they find out when DOJ and the FBI, and they do uncover something, and they do realize that maybe he was involved in all of this, and he did do all of this? Can he be recharged?
No.
He can't be, right?
He can't. He is home free.
But the officials could be.
Yes. He can be charged for the mail aspect of by the feds, and it won't have this outcome.
Here's what Fox said yesterday. If the public's upset about the outcome of this case, it's because they don't understand the law.
I think what she means is they don't understand the corruption in the Chicago system, where the prosecutors, she's not going to say that, prosecutors and judges run for office and they solicit campaign funds from the lawyers that appear before them.
Does this happen often and we just don't know about it?
Yes.
Because it's not
I'm going to suggest to you that this is not the first time and not the last. That happens in a lot of states where the judges and the prosecutors are popularly elected. We know about this case because Jesse is a celebrity.
If the mayor is a politician, doesn't gain from this, if the police chief doesn't gain for this, if the public doesn't gain for this, who's the politician that gains from this?
I don't know. There are pieces of the puzzle we don't yet understand. All of this is below the radar screen. Somebody wants something, and so they did a favor for somebody else. And I can't fill in the blanks yet, but I think it's going to come out.
But
this expungement? This allows him to answer under oath truthfully that he was never arrested and never charged, even though the whole country knows that he was.
Because they cleaned his record?
Yes.
Thank you, Judge.
Yes.
Thanks, Judge.
All the best. 44 years,
Lengthy.
Brian.
He had a lengthy career. And it's still going on.
He's an expert.